everybody, and welcome, and thank you very much for tuning in today to see this discussion. So, yeah, I'm Dan McLoughlin, I'm Field CTO at OneSpan, and I'm here to talk about cybersecurity from a global perspective. And I'm going to do this looking at some of these effects and how we can mitigate them, but also in something that's become really common in the news recently, areas around issues in deep fakery and AI, and I know a lot of people have got some concerns around this. So we're going to talk around that part of the subject first. So let's have a look at some of these recent deepfake images. Some of you may have already seen this one. This is obviously the Pope wearing a very nice puffer jacket, which he's obviously not actually wearing in real life, but it's a very well-made deepfake. And we'll go into some more information around how this is done and how this is spotted as we go on. But I'm also going to show some footage here, fake footage of Donald Trump. He was recently taken in for arraignment, and there were lots of fake images about a fake arrest of Donald Trump, and you can see those here. And if you look at them, they look really quite convincing when you first look at them, and you could actually believe that this is real footage. But all of this is completely fake and generated by computers using AI technology. And we'll show how that's happening, and we'll also show how you can look at that and discern whether this is actually a real image or not, and what is the impact of that as we move forwards in the world. So, along with images, voice is also a danger. AI is now capable of recognizing voices and replaying and saying things in your own voice. So it's often possible to confuse someone that the voice that you're listening to is from an actual person, but it's actually being generated by an AI and being fed back to you. So it's another area that we have to be really aware of, because we start to use as human beings, we use voice to recognize people, and we use visual cues and faces, etc. And as AI gets stronger and stronger, it's a real concern, especially as we're using things like biometrics to discern who people are. And there are real concerns about how that will be affected. So we've got these things around deepfake. We've got the voice AI type considerations. And of course, we've got these large language models like ChatGPT, which you may all be aware of. Again, something that's able to create seemingly all sorts of things, including code, prose, messages, letters, all sorts of things, and can speak in people's voices and can write as if they are somebody else. And as the versions go on, they're able to do more and more things. So we see more and more concern around this. So what can we do? What are the tools that we have to protect ourselves against these kinds of attack? So let's see, how do we spot the signs of a deep fake? Firstly, here's the image again of the Pope. And this actually had a lot of time taken on it. It's a really good image. What you can see is if you can zoom in really carefully to the hand that's holding a bottle there, you'll see it's not really actually holding anything. And there's a little bit of a discrepancy there in the visual image. And also around the shading around the side of the face and the ear, there's some slight discrepancies there in that image, but that's a particularly hard one to spot. But if we go back to those pictures of Donald Trump again, here it becomes a lot more simple to spot the fakes going on. So firstly, if you look at his hair, it's completely out of focus where his face is in focus. Now, some might say with Donald Trump, that's possibly what happens in real life as well. But generally in deepfake images, you'll find that you'll find areas out of focus and in focus in the same part of the photograph. So it struggles with that. Also, you'll see there's a hand there. It's sort of missing all the tips of the fingers. AI has real problems in generating images of hands at the moment, and so you'll see hands sometimes look a bit strange, not very realistic as you zoom in. And if we look at the bottom half there, you'll see that somehow Donald Trump's bottom half is completely missing. There's a sea of legs and things, none of which seem to be attached to the body of the man being dragged to the ground there. So a completely made up image, and we can see that. And again, if we look at this photo, if we look at the hands and the arms, you'll see they're shortened. Yeah, on the right hand, on Donald's right hand there, it seems to be a hand put on just around where the elbow should be, and his left hand is missing completely behind that other police officer. And then these are some of my favorites. The one on the left here, you see, if you look at Donald's bottom half, not only does he seem to have 3 legs, but also he's wearing a police baton on his trousers. So the AI's got very confused about who should be wearing the police baton in these pictures. So you've got some issues there. And again, on the right-hand image, issues with the coloring around the face. Again, it's harder with Donald Trump. He is pretty much orange, so it's not necessarily a natural skin tone anyway. But the bottom half of him, you'll see there seems to be the bottom half of a leg just sort of floating in space as well. So again, we can see that these are fake images. And while this is fun, it's always fun to sort of dissect these images. As we saw with the Pope one, the more time someone gets to spend on it, the more convincing they can be. And over time, it's going to be harder and harder to tell. So we're going to have to go much deeper into images to really discern whether they're genuine or not. What about voice? We talked about voice AI controlling our voices and being able to speak back in our own voices. But luckily, there is something that's different there. The vocal cords give a certain resonance that is different to what you get out of a speaker. So it is possible to discern, certainly for a computer to discern, the difference between a voice coming from somebody's actual mouth and throat as opposed to a voice coming from a speaker. So doing an actual voice biometric is still possible as long as you're getting the direct source of the voice and not a recording of it. And that's a way that we can actually discern the difference between someone speaking and an AI generating that voice, because an AI is always going to be coming through a speaker. So how is this going to affect us moving forwards? You know, we already see voice biometrics are in common use around the world. And also we talk to people on the phone, and you recognize someone by their voice, and you'll start talking to someone by their voice. You will gain a certain level of trust automatically if you believe you're speaking to someone you know. We also talked about the deepfake images. Well, they can be done in moving images as well, and they're getting more and more convincing. So visual phone conversations, FaceTime, etc. You're still going to have these issues where you're seeing someone that you believe you're speaking to, you're hearing their voice, you think you're speaking to someone, and it could be completely faked. And then if we go into the metaverse, which is still a possibility for some, you could be speaking to an avatar, and it's going to be somebody else's digital presence that you're looking at. You believe you're speaking to one person, and this could be an AI or a hacker trying to get information from you. So it's really important that we take these things seriously, even though we might make fun of it at the start. So how do we get past these things? We talked about the deep fakes and AI. How are we going to work this out? Well, AI can work for us as well as against us. So AI imaging and AI image detection can be done. There's certain things you can look for in metadata of how images are generated, etc., that we'll be able to find. And there's no perfect system there, but it will always be a constant battle going on between good software and bad software. When it comes to the voice, we talked about voice recognition, the difference between a vocal cord and a speaker. So we can look at that. And ChatGPT and elements that are automated. Oh, again, we've got behavioral biometrics and other biometric sources we can use to try and make sure that we're talking to real people rather than a computer and an AI. So how does OneSpan fit into all of this? Well, OneSpan provides multiple tools to help you to verify that the people you're speaking to are actually people. And not only that, but the people that you should be speaking to. So one of the first things we do is we can verify individuals by taking a credential, maybe a document, a passport, a driving license, some form of photo ID, doing some verification checks on the document, and also verifying the individual holding that document and making sure they're live and moving and genuine and real. We can then move that into an authentication space to ensure that we can continue to work with those users without having to go through that process every single time you talk to them. And then we can provide an interaction layer where you can use these tools to engage with individuals. Maybe for the first time you've spoken to someone, you can have them go through a process before you start an interaction with them. And then you can transact and you can sign things. And then we can store all of the data around that. And we can store it using blockchain technology to make sure all of the auditing that's done throughout the whole process of everything we're talking about here can be seen and checked and validated over and over again. So it gives us lots of scope to protect ourselves. And OneSpan provides this sort of multi-layer approach to our security offerings that we offer to our customers and to our partners, such as Standard Bank. And I believe that's the end of my presentation. So thank you all for listening. I hope that was informative, and we look forward to the rest of the event. Thank you very much.